Perfect.
Hey, this is Kiran Agrahar from the Sparking Entrepreneur Show, and today we have Angie Gerber with us. Angie is a transformational and core energy coach since 2017. She has completed hundreds of hours of coaching training and is a certified professional coach, energy leadership index master practitioner, and core transition dynamics specialist, and a Proctor Gallagher consultant. So, Angie, first off, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Nice to meet you today and excited to host you. Let's begin with your journey. So you hit a rock bottom in 2014 and then after then you met your first coach and then things have changed for you. So tell us about the transformation journey and how it happened.
Yes. So when I got into real estate in 2014, I've always had a servant heart, and I figured what better way to serve others than to help them, work with the biggest asset, either buy or sell a home. And I love it. I continue to do it and mentor to new agents. And then in about 2017, I took a personal turn. It was with alcohol. All of a sudden I became someone that I just didn't even recognize. And it happened really quickly. It is a slippery slope. And all of a sudden I was at my personal rock bottom. I was about to lose just about everything that mattered anything to me. And in that moment, I was able to pull myself out of it by the grace of God and got help. And, it's been over 6 years since. So definitely still on the trajectory, the right direction. And in those moments and in that darkness, I found my first coach, Bob Proctor of Proctor Gallagher Institute. He passed away about over a year ago now, but he's impacted so many lives, millions of people's, including mine. And it was through the awareness of just the information that he studied for over 60 years that I didn't find till I was 40. And it was just amazing that all of this amazing information and greatness is out there, and yet so many people, 90 to 95% of the population actually have no idea about this information. And it kind of goes to show you why 1 to 3% of people earn about 96-97% of the money, because it's a process. And it was through hiring him, and I didn't have the money. I found it because he said, once you make a decision, the way will be shown. And I figured it out. And he said, do what I tell you to do, that I tell you to do, until you either find out I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. And I was at a place where I'm like, well, my way's not working. So I went for it, and it changed everything for me. And so much so that I came back and I paid to be a consultant at his company, because it's just so important to get this information out to everyone I can.
Tell us about the information. What is the secret information? 99%.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. So there's the program that Bob and Sandy Gallagher created is Thinking into Results. So it's truly about how it starts with, if your results and where you're at are not where you intend to be or want to be, everything starts with our thinking. So it's using the information you have at your fingertips and how you think, your awareness. There's two things that no one can control but us, and that's what our thoughts are, what we're thinking, and our attitude. So it's really taking the programming. See, so many of us are living from pre-programming that was instilled in us when we were younger, and most of it's environmental. He calls it paradigms. So we have these paradigms in our subconscious that we live by, and we have habitual behaviors, and we show up and we make decisions from, and it just no longer serves us. But like so many people, 90 to 95% of the population just get up and do what they do because that's what they do, and they don't give much thought into it. So it's really by being aware of how those thoughts are formed, why they're there, how long they've been there, and more importantly, how you can reprogram yourself and get rid of what no longer serves you and replace it with what will serve you and get you to your desired goals. Yeah, it's a whole amazing 6-month program. It's I always tell my clients, I'm like, this is not just a 6-month program, though. It's a lifestyle. Like, it's a commitment. You're going to do it from now until the day you leave this earth. I know even Bob Proctor said, I'll fight my paradigms until the day I leave this earth. It's just always going to be there. So it's truly making the conscious decision that you want different and better, and then doing the work to get it.
Now I've gotten an understanding of the things that you're speaking on. Let's put them into action. Tell
Okay.
us about the tools, tell us about the strategies that you use and cultivate to make that happen.
Yes, so many strategies, obviously. So the first one that I love and that changed my life so much was gratitude. I think where I was at, and where so many people are, and you don't even have to be at a rock bottom. You could be in a situation, it might not be ideal, or you could be meeting your goals and wanting more. What I figured and found is that it all starts with gratitude. So if you can't be grateful for where you're at, or find gratitude in your current circumstances, situations, relationships, work, whatever it is you're doing, you're actually collapsing the energy and not allowing anything in. So it's by being grateful that you're able to open up the space and allow more in. As Bob says, we're all energy. Everything's energy in a constant motion. So when you're at a lower energy and your vibration is low, that's what you're going to get more of, because what you put out, you get back. It's almost like a boomerang that's going to hit you in the back of the head. So if you're putting out all this negative, you're going to get that back. So it's raising your vibration and becoming grateful, and doing positive affirmations, positive I am statements, really using your higher faculties, which I can go into. That's a whole thing as well, versus our 5 senses, which is hear, see, smell, taste, touch. That's what we learned in school. That's what we learned to live by. And our 5 senses are actually here to enhance our experience. What so many people aren't aware of and don't know is our higher faculties, which is perception, will, imagination, intuition, reason, and memory. And it's by tapping into your higher faculties, one being your imagination, and really living through your imagination as if what it is you intend to have and your goal is already achieved, that you impress that upon your subconscious, and therefore the people, the circumstances, the money, the opportunities will start presenting themselves to you. It's phenomenal. They're laws of the universe. They're not man-made. They can't be man-altered. They can be altered by man. So it's really plugging and playing. I tell a lot of my clients, there's gravity, whether you're a good person or a bad person. If you jump off a building, the same thing's going to happen. The moon follows the sun, the tide goes in, the tide goes out. I mean, if you think about our world and the universe and all the amazing things that just happen because they happen, it's by law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into the law, right? So I've heard Bob Proctor a bit. I used to watch his YouTube videos, and what I've learned is vibrations, right? Vibrations is something that most of the things are. So there is a vibration of the thing that you want,
Yeah.
and there is a vibration, current vibration, which is not absolutely serving you, but is leading you to like bad things. But if you get aligned with the vibration that you want to now, you can get to that for a while, but then again the negativity comes along, right? So how to stay in that vibration so that we are constantly attracting the best?
Yes. And I'm not, it's work. It absolutely is. It's the awareness. And that's what I say. This whole information, Bob Proctor, the program Thinking into Results, like the name of my podcast, awareness. Once you're aware, you can't unknow. Once you know, you can't unknow. So it's really about understanding and diving in and starting small with your intuition and testing, seeing what you can find out. But what it is truly, when you're in a situation, for me, so I was in a co-parenting situation for over 10 years. I was in victim mode. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was really, quite frankly, pissed off, and just like I had such low vibration and energy. And I just kept putting it out, and that's what I got back. And it's in a lot of areas of my life. I put it out, I got it back. And it wasn't until I found Bob and this information, and he first thing he says, write 25 things you're grateful for. And I said, no. Uh-uh. And he challenged me. He's like, do it. Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. So I figured out. And once I got past the first few, they just kind of flew out. And it's all about perception. Just because it's like if you're sitting at a table and there's something in the middle of it and you have 6 people around that table, everyone sees the same object differently because it's from a different point of view. So it was getting out of my own head, out of my own way, out of my own victimhood, and looking at truly everyone's doing the best they can with the information, the tools, the resources, and where they're at in life. So it was just kind of almost taking it from a 50-foot view up to a 5,000 to 50,000 foot view and really looking at it from a different perception. And by doing that, you can understand and see things differently. And then your reality of the situation changes. And then therefore you can kind of let go of some of that negative vibration and energy and raise it and come from gratitude and decide, when you get triggered or something happens, it's really just stopping in the moment and looking for the polar opposite or the good in any situation, because there's good in every situation. You just have to find it and choosing to look at that versus staying in the negative of it and in the downturn of it. And that's where a lot of people stay. And it's interesting, and why people stay there, if you think about it. And what I've come to learn is that because it's familiar, and people would rather stay with what's familiar, even though it doesn't serve them and it's not going to get them anywhere. But the unknown and choosing faith over fear or going for it is more than they want to bear. So they would rather just stay where they're at. So yeah, it's really about making the conscious decision to shift out of what you're in. And there's tools and resources and tips and just ways to do it through the thinking the results. It's a systematic program and approach to switching out your thinking.
So let's suppose somebody is feeling lazy at work, right? So as Tony Robbins suggests that get up, jump and get into higher vibrations, and then you will feel more active. So would that jumping along help in any way?
Well, and I think it's too, so if they're lazy at work, what is the bottom line? Are they unhappy? Are they not doing what they want to do? Or are they just unmotivated in life in general? So really, if they're just lazy, not wanting to do anything, then my first thing would be, well, what do you want to do? What is your passion? You're obviously not living it. So what I want to do is challenge my clients is, if you could wake up tomorrow and have your perfect day, I get to do this. I don't have to. I have to go to work. Like, what is your I get to? I don't have to. And then start living from there. And that's where you may not be where you want to be. You might be in that job that deflates you, or you're just not getting anywhere, going anywhere. And that's where your higher faculties are so very important, because if you can start living from and dreaming and using your imagination and connecting to your goal as if it's already here and done, through raising your vibration, through using your imagination. And my coach says, he's like, get the goal, and your goal has got to be big. It's got to be, you can't know how it's going to happen. The only prerequisite is your desire to have it. So you desire a goal, you pick something, and you shouldn't know how it's going to happen. If you know how, it's not worthy of you and big enough. So you pick this goal of what you do want, where you do want to go, and you have that image in your mind, and you connect to it as much as you can throughout the day using your imagination, and feel it. It's all about the feeling and connecting to that frequency and vibration. Feel it an hour after it's achieved. And then you start living from that person and you start saying, what would that person do in this situation? What does that person's morning routine look like? What does that person eat or do or drink? Or, how would they respond versus react? So it's really about living from the end and the goal already achieved and doing that as much as you can and catching yourself and resetting and just raising out from where you're at vibrational wise to connect as much as you can to that throughout the day. And the beautiful thing is your subconscious will accept, it can't reject anything. So the more you do that and the more you impress upon your subconscious, the more it will instill in there. And again, that's where the people, circumstances, monies, opportunity, all of that will start presenting itself. It's just a beautiful, beautiful process.
Wow.
Yeah.
Angie, a lot to discuss, but before that, please tell us about the best ways of reaching out to you. Tell us about your email, your website, or anything that can help us reach out.
Oh, yeah. So my email is pretty easy. It's my first and last name, Angie Gerber at gmail.com. My website is coachingwithag.com. And I have the on Facebook, I just Angie Gerber, and then I have my transformational coach as well. But yeah, if you want to email me, reach out. I can get you some links. I also have a podcast, which is awareness. Once you know, you can't unknow, under Angie Gerber, Thinking into Results as well. I started that last November, and it's just been a pleasure to be able to get this information out in any which way, in any format I can. That's why, again, I appreciate you having me on as well, because it's so important to just, once Bob passed away, there's so many of us that are just like, well, it's our turn now. We're going to bring this out, even though this information is in every country and has helped millions of people. There's still so much work to be done. Yeah.
Yes, and let's do that work, guys. I
Yeah.
am here hosting Sparkji Media and she's hosting her podcast. Let's spread the word and make it happen for our planet. Angie, my next question, unfortunately, the last question for the day is something that we should know, something you would surely want each person to know after this conversation. What would be that one action step? What would be that one thought? What should be that next thing they should do after listening to this conversation?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's important that everyone knows, like, if I can do what I've done, anyone can do it. And that's what Bob's top coaches say. That's what Bob said. Bob Proctor, when he started, he was $6,000 in debt and making $4,000 a year. He had no high school education. He was just like doing dumb jobs, as he said. And he found someone that introduced him to this information. And he went from that to $175,000 a year to over $1 million. And this was in the 60s. So he then spent the next 9 years trying to figure out what happened. And in the process of doing it, that's where he connected all the dots. So I think it's really important that everyone knows, regardless of where you're at today, that's just the past. That your results today are a reflection of your past thinking. So it's starting today that whatever you want is yours for the taking. You just get to decide and you get to choose and you get to start thinking into results. So it's really understanding that our thoughts are so, so very important. And 90 to 95% of people just are on autopilot and they're not thinking at all. So it's creating the awareness. And I just want everyone to know and believe that they can truly choose faith over fear and have whatever it is they truly, truly desire. That's what we're here for. We were born for expansion. We were born for joy and love and beauty. We weren't born to suffer and, be in depression and anxiety and all the things that are happening. That's not our birthright. Our birthright is to expand and have a beautiful, beautiful life.
Yeah, that made me speechless. Like, I want to let everyone sink that in because that is so important. Angie, with that said, we'll let you go today. I am your host, Kiran Agrahar, signing off. Thank you so much, Angie, for such a wonderful, wonderful episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly, truly appreciate it. And you have an amazing day.
I will have a good evening and you have a great day and a
Thank
great week.
you.
Thank you, guys. Angie, one thing you can do is stop the recording. Thank you for the wonderful podcast.